everybody, and welcome to Out of the Gate, Daily Racing Form's weekend handicapping preview program. I'm Dan Illman. Thanks so much for watching. Here's what's coming up in this week's edition of Out of the Gate. Kentucky Derby prep season is in full swing, and Out of the Gate has got you covered. DRF handicappers Matt Bernier, Mike Beer, and I will take a look at the three major Derby preps this weekend: the Grade 2 Tampa Bay Derby, the Grade 3 Gotham Stakes from Aqueduct, and the Grade 2 San Felipe from Santa Anita. Nicole Russo's pedigree pick segment focuses on the bloodlines of the three-year-olds entered in the Grade 2 San Felipe. JK's Play of the Day, a Santa Anita Pick 3. David Aragona's Time Form US Spotlight is the Grade 3 Tom Fool Handicap. Plus, Peter Thomas Fornatel's Tournament Talk, horses to watch, best bets, and lots more. So let's break Out of the Gate. We begin Out of the Gate with our Horse Watch segment. Matt Bernier, you're going back to the Fountain of Youth undercard.
Yeah, this is a horse called Hofburg for Bill Mott, making his second lifetime start. First time going 2 turns. We're going to take a look at this right now. It's a maiden special way to fare. You see the Juddmonte Silks on the outside. Jose Ortiz has the mount, very confident. You take a look back. That 10 horse is going to come on with a nice little bit of a run. Hofburg, when he hits the front, I think he just kind of idles a little bit. This was his first start since Saratoga, so he's been gone for some time. But it's worth noting he's by Tappet. He's out of a Touch Gold mare, and the mare has produced some decent runners already. Let's say multiple Grade 1 winner Emollient. He's a half brother to her. So I think there's some possibilities with this horse going down the road. He earned an 83 buyer there, and who knows, maybe he's a dirt horse, maybe he's a turf horse, but he's in good hands.
I like that effort. The jock was riding him with utmost confidence turning into the stretch, and you're right, maybe he was fooling around a bit once he made a clear lead. When that other horse came to him in late stretch, it looked like he rebroke again. It was a really nice performance and certainly one to watch. Mike Beer, Naira analyst, you've got something at the Big 8.
Yeah, I like that performance from Matt's horse too. You guys both have better horse watches than me this week. Only 2 days of racing in New York. Here is Sounds Delicious. This is a Linda Rice 4-year-old filly, and this is her making it 4 for 5 in her career. She could very easily be undefeated if not for a little bit of a tricky trip in her first start back from a layoff, 2 starts back. She was supposed to win this race. She got right to the front on this field. She whistles through the stretch. This is the third of her 4 career wins. This is the third blowout, absolute blowout that she's put up out there. She's a pretty good filly, this horse, and she's still very lightly raced, and I think you might see her in stakes races pretty soon.
Boy, it doesn't get any easier than that. You're down the last 70 yards for Sounds Delicious, a very impressive winner. I'm also going to go back to last Saturday at Gulfstream Park. Jimmy Toner's second-time starter, Hawkish. I know Matt liked this horse a little bit going in off of an impressive closing debut victory. Second-time start, though, I think this horse was compromised by the lack of pace. Let's go back to the Palm Beach at Gulfstream. You see him on the outside right now, and he's going to try to make an early wide bid. You'll notice there's not a lot of pace going on. 23-4, 48-2. The top 2 finishers are the 2 Maraud, the 1 Speed Franco. They were up close from the beginning. I think Hawkish had to expend a lot of energy going from last, basically, right up into the leaders at the top of the stretch. And then guess what? Now the leaders are starting to sprint away from home, and understandably Hawkish is going to tire a little bit from that early bid. What I do like about it, and Matt mentioned that this horse was very green and swapped leads in his career debut. He stayed straight and strong and on his right lead all the way down to the wire this time around. I think he's beginning to figure the game out. I'm looking forward to see what Hawkish is able to do next time out on the turf when given a fair pace scenario. Let's get to some handicapping 3 major Kentucky Derby preps this weekend. We'll start with the Tampa Bay Derby. Let's take a look at the field for Saturday's DRF Bets Race of the Day. It's the Grade 2 Tampa Bay Derby. $400,000 is the purse. The 3-year-olds are traveling a mile and a 16th. For expanded stakes previews of all the graded races all weekend long, head on over to video.drf.com or the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel. Mike, you're looking for a little bit of a price in this race. Dale Romans really exploded with a 3-year-old in Promises Fulfilled last week in the Fountain of Youth. He's got the morning line favorite in the Gotham, but he's also got Tiz Mischief sort of lying in the weeds.
Yeah, I don't know how big a price he'll be after the scratches come in, but I don't think he'll be the favorite in the Tampa Bay Derby, and I'm just perfectly happy to give Tiz Mischief one more chance in here. His first start off the layoff in the Holy Bull. let's be honest, he didn't run that great in that race, a distant third in there, but maybe he needed one off the layoff. Here's his maiden win at Keeneland. This is the first time they went 2 turns with this horse, and this was a race that really caught my eye last year with this horse. He got through a little bit of traffic through that second turn. You're going to see him come clear here right about mid-stretch, and I just liked the way that this horse finished in this race after extricating himself from some traffic in the second turn. I thought he backed this race up pretty well in the Kentucky Jockey Club in his next start. He didn't quite get there in that race, but I liked the progression that he made from this race to that one. I just don't know how much I care about the Holy Bull, guys. There's pace in this race. He's going to be running at the end. I'm hoping this horse takes a step forward.
Trainer Romans historically does well with 3-year-old dirt riders making the second start of the form cycle. This horse, right after winning his maiden, was able to finish ahead of promises fulfilled in the Kentucky Jockey Club, so he has a little bit of quality. Matt, you and I have always been a big fan of Vino Rosso, a lightly raced 3-year-old for Todd Pletcher. He ran like he needed blinkers last time out in the Sam F. Davis. Pletcher's putting the blinks on for the Tampa Bay Derby.
Yeah, normal circumstances, I'd be a little bit alarmed. First time blinkers for Todd in a graded stakes race. It's not a good number. I believe 1 for 17 over the past 5 years, but this horse runs like he needs them. We're going to take a look back at the Sam F. Davis right now. This was a day I thought speed actually did quite well at Tampa Bay, and you see him about 3-4 paths off the rail right now. He got outpaced on the far turn for one reason or another. Again, the blinkers, I think that's going to solve that problem, but I love the way that he finishes here. He galloped out way in front of everyone else. You see Catholic Boy trying. He hangs a little bit. Flame Away, I have no knocks against him. He's game. He's gritty. He doesn't want to lose. I just think the upside for Vino Rosso is tremendous, and hopefully the blinkers can sharpen him up a little bit. He's probably going to get bet, but I don't really have much of a problem taking him at 2-1 or 5-2 on Saturday.
My horse is a little bit more of a reach in here, and that's the number 8, World of Trouble. A horse that has a good amount of ability, but whether he's going to be able to really stretch that ability out to 1 mile and a 16th, that might be a different story. He's only a half length away from being a perfect 3 for 3 in his career, and in his loss, he bounced off the rail in mid-stretch, costing him some momentum and perhaps the win. Let's go back to his most recent start. It's the Pasco Stakes, going 7 furlongs. This is just an overmatched field that World of Trouble is in against. You see he is 4-5 off an 88 Beyer speed figure in his 2-year-old finale, and he just ran a hole in the wind. A lot of folks are going to say this really doesn't prove too much. He was able to get on a nice easy lead over perhaps a speed-friendly track against an overmatched field, but I think there's some ability here, and if you think that Vino Rosso might be overbet, again, Enticed and Free Drop Billy, both horses entered in this race, are going to run in New York in the Gotham. Maybe World of Trouble can get to the front and back this pace down. It's a big ask going 1 mile and a 16th. I'll need at least 6-1 on World of Trouble. I'll also use a lot of Vino Rosso in all sorts of multiple race wagers. Nicole Russo is going to take a look at the pedigrees for the 3-year-olds out in Southern California, getting ready for the San Felipe Stakes. Then Peter Thomas Fornatel will give you all the latest news in the world of tournaments in Tournament Talk. Let's go to those segments right now.
Hey guys, Nicole Russo coming to you from Lexington, Kentucky for Out of the Gate. And with the Kentucky Derby less than 2 months away, Saturday's Grade 2 San Felipe at Santa Anita, which we'll look at the field for right now, expected to lend some clarity to the picture as McKinsey and Bolt d'Oro meet for the first time. But you know, there are 2 other graded winners in this field in Kenthaka and Lambo, as well as another horse who's always been well regarded in Peace, all from the first crops of their respective sires. And I want to look at those 3 to give you some more intel on this race beyond the 2 very deserving favorites. Let's start with Kenthaka, who is coming off this win in the San Vicente, obviously stretching out here for the San Felipe, but did beat a solid field that day with a Beyer that puts him right on par with McKinsey and Bolt d'Oro. He's from the first crop of Jimmy Creed, a Grade 1 winner at 7 furlongs. He's already had a handful of graded and group performers. The Stallions foals haven't gotten many chances to go 2 turns yet, but he is in turn by classic sire Distorted Humor. So while at first glance I think he's going to be a bit more of a shorter distance sire, see what happens as these runners face 2 turns. Kenthaka is the first foal out of an unraced mare who is a half-sister to Red Chili Pepper, a Group 3 winner at 1 mile and an 1/8 in Japan, and Proud Heiress, a Grade 3 winner at 6 furlongs in Canada. This, again, strikes me as more of a speed-oriented pedigree, but this is definitely a classy horse, so we'll see how far that carries him. Now, Lambo is coming off an upset front-running win in the Robert Lewis here, his first try around 2 turns. He's the first graded winner by Gradar, of course, a son of Unbridled Song, whose line is really having a moment, especially in classic distance races. Lambo's Dam Berg was grade 2 placed at a mile on turf. Her Dam Snowberg, a stakes winner at a mile and grade 1 placed at 9 furlongs. Lambo has already outrun Berg's first starter, Backlash, who didn't win beyond 6.5. So again, this strikes me as kind of another 3-year-old trying to outrun a speed-oriented pedigree. And then we come to the well-regarded Peace, who turned in this impressive maiden win before finishing 5th in the Lewis, looking to rebound here. Peace is by Violence among last year's leading freshman sires. The son of Medaglia d'Oro is already showing the hallmarks of his sire, that his foals run well on many surfaces, that they want to go long. This is a really exciting young stallion taking up that mantle for one of North America's elite sires. Peace's Dam, a stakes winner at 9 furlongs and grade 1 placed at the classic distance of 1.25 miles. 4 of her 6 runners have won at 1 1/16 or longer. This is the family of an Irish classic winner. So a lot of really promising things in Peace's pedigree if he can continue to the development he showed before his little setback last time. Well, that's all for me this week on Out of the Gate. Now let's get you over to Peter for some tournament talk.
Peter Thomas Fornatale back with you on Out of the Gate to talk about a very exciting development in contest play. It's the new World Horse Player Tour Santa Anita Preakness contest. This contest is going to be filmed for a television pilot. This new property, the World Horse Player Tour, taking place out at Santa Anita Preakness weekend. That's May 19th and 20th. Here's how it works. First of all, there is no entry fee. You put up $5,000, that's your live bankroll, and you use that to play. It's a 2-day event. On Saturday, fairly standard live bankroll rules. At the end of the day, there's a cut line. 8 players go on to day 2. Those 8 players will participate at the first ever live bankroll final table. At the final table, just like in a poker tournament, that cash money will be converted to mythical money. It will continue to be live bank. Players will play the whole card at Santa Anita on Sunday, however many races that is. Throughout the day, the minimum wagers will increase, starting at $1,000, going to $1,500, then $2,000, etc. The betting menu will consist of win only and 1 horse to win only. You'll have the option to go all in at any time. At the end, a winner will be crowned. Very much like a poker tournament, except with horse racing. Going to be a lot of fun. Should do very well in a televised format. Very eager to see what happens and thrilled with some of the player-friendly nuances involved in this new World Horse Player Tour, not the least of which is in the exclusive qualifiers on DRF tournaments, there is a takeout of less than 10% in those direct qualifiers. Great opportunity for horse players to get involved, to play with the best of it, and to have a chance to maybe see themselves on television. Lots of cool stuff going on. Check it out. The first direct qualifier is this weekend. That's Sunday. Go to tournaments.drf.com to check it out. $458, 1 in 12 will win those $5,000 seats for the Preakness contest. Block out that weekend. Try to qualify. If you don't qualify, come on out and buy your way in. Lots of other stuff going on this weekend on DRF tournaments as well, including qualifiers for the Wood Day contest at Aqueduct, also qualifiers for Keeneland's Grade 1 Gamble you're going to want to check out, and another opportunity to win into DRF's other proprietary contest, the World Championship of Handicapping. Big money, no takeout. Start your journey today at DRF tournaments. Lots of live contest action this weekend. I'll be out at Santa Anita. The Ultimate Betting Challenge is Sunday. Horse Player World Series going on. That'll wrap up Saturday night. Gulfstream's participating in that Ultimate Betting Challenge as well. And the Gotham contest at Aqueduct for $500 on Saturday. I'll be covering it all in the pages of Daily Racing Form on DRF.com through the Players Podcast and right here on Out of the Gate. That's all I have for this week. I'm Peter Thomas Fornatale, and the show will be back right after this.
Welcome back to Out of the Gate. Let's take a look at the field for the Kentucky Derby prep race at Aqueduct on Saturday. It's the Grade 3 Gotham. It's a one-turn mile this year. $300,000 is the purse. For expanded stakes previews of all the graded stakes races this weekend, we cover each horse from the A to the Z. Visit video.drf.com or the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel. Mike, the number 5 Firenze Fire, he has made hay in one-turn miles in the past, and he's going to get the right setup, isn't he?
Yeah, it feels like he's got plenty of things pointing to him here in the Gotham as he turns back to a one-turn mile. I mean, he really is one of those horses who it feels like, you know, this is going to be his game going forward. 7 or 8 furlongs around one turn. The replay we're going to show you right now is his most recent start. This is the Withers, a 2-turn mile and an eighth, and it just feels like this is probably too far for him. He got a perfectly fine trip in this race. He is doing his absolute best through the stretch. He cannot get to front running Avery Island at the end of this race, but he doesn't give any ground through the stretch. He just can't seem to kick it in like he does in the one-turn shorter races. He's cutting back to the one-turn mile here. If you just go back 2 starts on his page and look at that Jerome off the layoff on a wet track, he only got an 86 buyer for that race. He ran better than that. They were walking on the lead. He was last. He was wide. He came charging through the stretch to close it down. This is what this horse wants, guys, and I just feel like he's not going to be the favorite in this race, and I think that makes him playable.
He really ran well last time out playing Avery Island's game. That horse is built for a mile and an eighth, maybe not so for Firenze Fire. The one-turn mile is what he wants. I'm really interested to see what your pick, Matt, does in here. This is a horse that's shown a lot of ability, and boy, I think his trainer, Keith DeZormo, is fantastic.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% about DeSormo. Beautiful Shot is a fascinating horse for me, especially considering this is his first start as a 3-year-old. He did some good things. This is his start 2 back in the Speakeasy, going 6 furlongs at Santa Anita. Mourinho is the one on the front end. I think Mourinho ran the better race in here, but the point being, you can tell that there's something here with Beautiful Shot. In his debut, he beat Nero. We know Nero's come back to be a talented one for Baffer. I'm not holding the Bob Hope against him. He's been gone for some time, but boy, I mean, this just feels like a very, very confident move. Ship this horse across country for his first start as a 3-year-old against some pretty decent ones. Firenze Fire, Free Drop Billy, Enticed, whomever else. I just think this is an interesting runner. I don't know what ultimately the end game is. I don't know that 2 turns is really going to be his friend, but Trap Shot, I kind of look at the pedigree. I think he might be kind of a one-turn sprinter. Why not a 7/8 type of horse? I think he's interesting in here.
Price is right, and you know he's going to get a little bit of pace. This horse has a pretty nice kick. I'm going to chalk out here with the number 6, Free Drop Billy. I made this horse a horse watch here on Out of the Gate after his seasonal debut, and that was in the Holy Bull Stakes, trained by Dale Romans in his first start off the layoff. We have mentioned on the show, Roman seems to do better historically second off the bench with these 3-year-old dirt routers, but I thought this horse ran really well in the Holy Bull first start back. He's already made a big, strong run at Audible on the turn, and Audible, the Pletcher-trained runner, just runs away from Free Drop Billy. I wonder if he was feeling the effects of the layoff as well as a sharp Pletcher-trained horse at Gulfstream the last quarter of a mile, but he's easily second best in this spot, and while turning back to a one-turn mile seems a little bit weird, he's run well going one turn in the past. He just missed in the prestigious Grade 1 Hopeful last year. Not much of a price, but I'm a fan of Free Drop Billy. He's 9-5 on the morning line. Maybe we'll get 2-1. Now we're going to ship out to Southern California for the Grade 2 San Felipe. We move from New York to Southern California, but the goal is all the same. It's the first Saturday in May for these 3-year-olds prepping. Let's take a look at the Grade 2 San Felipe Stakes. We are going 1 mile and a 16th for $400,000. Carded is race number 6 at the Great Race Place. For expanded stakes previews, talk about the Great Race Place. We got the Big Cap, lots of other graded stakes races. Head on over to video.drf.com or the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel. Mike McKenzie is the 8-5 morning line favorite despite losing the Los Al Futurity. He was placed first via disqualification. He's a perfect 3 for 3. Do you think he should be the morning line favorite, 8-5 over Boltioro?
No, I don't think he should be favored, but it's probably pretty close either way. I mean, if you flipped Boltioro and made him 8-5 and this horse 2-1, what's the difference really? McKenzie showed up with a big reputation for Baffert. He did not disappoint first time out. How he was placed first in the Los Al Futurity, I'll never know. He should never have been placed first in that race, but technically he's 3 for 3 on the way in. Here's his most recent race, the Grade 3 Sham. He's pretty impressive winning this race, that's for sure. He just flat overpowers this field, but it's a weaker field. He's better than these horses, and now they're going to bump him back up. This is going to be a real good test for this horse to find out exactly how good he is. I do think he's good. I just wonder how far he wants to go. I feel like as these distances get longer, things are going to get worse for McKenzie.
That Sham Stakes, that was the best that McKenzie's ever looked to me, but the waters get deeper, Matt, because Bolt d'Oro, beaten favorite in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, multiple Grade 1 stakes winner, he's making his 3-year-old debut.
Yeah, he's finally getting back on the beam. It's going to be interesting to see what we get. I think he was the best 2-year-old by far. I understand a lot of people. Look, Good Magic ultimately won the 2-year-old championship. We're going to go back to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, though. This was a miserable trip from the very beginning for this horse. He broke from post 11. He went 78 feet farther than Good Magic and 60 feet farther than Solomini. He only got beat by a length by Solomini. And again, Good Magic ran the best race, I suppose, that day. I just think Bolt d'Oro, if he comes back anything close to what he was, I think he's way the horse to beat.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with Matt. We have the same top pick in this race. And I know that, you could go back to that Breeders' Cup Juvenile and say, well, the rail wasn't the place to be. So, how bad was it for this horse to be wide? I would say he was too wide in that race. That was an impossible trip that he had in there. And I actually felt like he ran really well in the Breeders' Cup. I don't love the fact that he's had a little bit of trouble getting back to the races this year. I just think he's good, though, and I think he might be a little bit better than these horses.
The two favorites in this race coming off a little bit of a layoff. Certainly Bolt d'Oro hasn't run since the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. McKenzie's been away a couple of months off. The number 8 Kanthaka's got recency. The question is whether Kanthaka can go 2 turns, kind of the situation with World of Trouble. Let's go back to his most recent start. It was sprinting in the San Vicente, going 7 furlongs. Kanthaka got a dream setup. He has already made a big run into this race. You'll notice the pace. Take a look at those exhausted pace setters. They're still dueling. They're just dueling it while basically on their hands and knees. Kanthaka runs away from this field. We don't see it in the video, but this horse really picked it up on the turn, swung outside, finished it off. I think there's some ability here. Is he going to be able to do it against better horses going 1 mile and a 16th? That's the big story. He'll be the 3rd choice in this race. I do think there is some ability for Kanthaka, and he does have some recency in his corner. JK's play of the day, a Santa Anita pick 3. I believe he's got all singles. Then David Aragona's Timeform US Spotlight, the Tom Fool Handicap, the supporting stakes on Gotham Saturday at Aqueduct. Let's go to those segments.
Hey everybody, welcome to JK's Play of the Day. We're going to head out to California, Southern California, where they say it never rains, but unfortunately it might on Saturday. That will reflect a little bit of this play here. We're going to do an ice-cold pick 3, all stakes, starting in race 4, the Grade 1 Triple Bin. Really like City of Light in this spot. Excelled going 7 furlongs. We won the Grade 1 Malibu back in December on opening day. He finds that same distance here. Timeform US suggests that he should be forward in a race that should favor horses on or near the lead. I think he should be extremely tough in this spot. The outside horse, Captain Scotty, should take a little bit of money to add some value here in singling City of Light. Going on to the second race, this is probably the most likely winner on the card in World Approval. Whether it's rain or shine, in the rain, he obviously can run well. He ran huge in the 4-star Dave on a bog of a course. I don't think that Santa Anita, even if it does rain, will resemble that course. I think he'll be fine in this spot, should get pasted to run at. He's tactical. He's always in a good position. World Approval will be a single here. And in the second leg, the Grade 1 Kilroe Mile. And then on to the third. This is where it gets interesting. If Bolt d'Oro scratches because of the rain or because of weather, this play becomes a little bit less attractive because McKenzie will be a huge favorite. However, if Bolt d'Oro's in this race, he'll take a lot of money. We're going to single McKenzie in this spot. I think McKenzie is talented. He's trying to figure out a lot of things. I think he's going to be figuring those out every start for the rest of his career. And I think that he'll excel on this day and should be able to beat Bolt d'Oro, who is a little bit behind the 8 ball. If you watch some of his works, slow from the gate, some encouragement during the lane. Not exactly what I want to see from the Derby winter book favorite. I'm going to single McKenzie in this spot. 3 singles, City of Light, World of Approval, and McKenzie. We'll see you guys next week.
Hi, I'm David Aragona for this week's Timeform US Spotlight. There's a great card at Aqueduct on Saturday. It's headed by the Gotham Stakes, of course, one of the major Derby preps taking place this weekend. But there are 3 interesting undercard stakes before the Gotham. And the one that I'm really looking forward to is race 9. It's the Grade 3 Tom Fool for 6 furlongs. It's a handicap for older horses. Just a really competitive race of 10 horses. Made the morning line for this race. I had 6 of the 10 horses grouped between 7-2 and 6-1 on the line. Just seems like there are a bunch of horses that are going to take money in this spot. They'll be very close in the wagering. A race where you really want to pay attention to the board and look for value, horses that are going off at higher prices than you expected them to. Let's take a look at the time form US pace projector for this race, because I think it's an interesting discussion. While we're not predicting a situation that necessarily, predicts a fast pace or favors horses honoring the lead. There's not a ton of speed in this race when we really parse through the field. We're predicting that the horses that are going to be up towards the front are Green Grotto and Favorite Tail, the number 1 and 9 horses. But behind them, there just aren't that many speeds. Horses like 3-5 India, the 4, the 5 Skylar Scramjet. They're not front-running types. They're going to be a little off the pace in here. So we'll have to see if this is a race where horses can really close from the back of the pack. The horse that I made the favorite on the morning line is the one that's coming off the best last race, is the number 3 horse, Great Stuff. It seems like he probably is the horse to beat. He's coming into this race in very good form off that win in the Toboggan last time out. Now, that race was 7 furlongs. He's cutting back to 6 furlongs today. He's been successful going this shorter trip in the past, but he's coming out of a race that was featuring just 6 horses. He got a very fast pace to close into. You see the time form US pace figures are color-coded red for that last race, indicating that the pace was extremely fast that day. And he was just the horse that made the last move in a race that was kind of falling apart at the end. He ran very well, and he's been in great form, but he's coming off, a race where it's just really exposed, and it seems like other horses, their form is not quite as exposed, and they might be better prices in this spot. So I totally respect Great Stuff. I just wonder if he can pass all of them in this larger field. Another horse that's coming out of similar races to Great Stuff that is one that I think could get a little lost in the wagering here is Life in Shambles, the number 7 horse. Just a really hard-knocking horse that kind of rarely wins these races, but he's always kind of right there at the end. He's got a good stalking style where he can kind of be sitting right in behind the speeds if they're not able to keep up the pace that they're setting. And just, I feel like he's one that could, be going off in the 10 or 12 to 1 range. And you want to pay attention to that in this race because horses could get a little lost. Looking back to his last 3 races, he's run time form US speed figures of 120 or above in all of those races. Few horses in this field have been quite that consistent. In that race 4 back, you see in the race rating box, there's a little P next to the race rating of 114. That indicates that the pace of that race was extremely slow and might have negatively affected the speed figure of that race. So overall, he's running speed figures that are very consistent. And I just think he's a horse you don't want to leave off your tickets at a pretty generous price. Another horse that's likely to take money in this spot is Skylar Scramjet, the 5 horse, stepping up in company, really trying the toughest field of his career, making his stakes debut now as a 4-year-old. And he's coming off 2 straight wins at Aqueduct. He's just been in stellar form since switching back to the Michelle Nevin barn. He ran a speed figure 2 back of 128 that would make him one of the horses to beat in this spot. Last time out, I was a little less impressed with that race. It was a muddy track, which he might not have handled, but his speed figure kind of dipped. He had to work harder than expected to beat a lesser horse like Angry Moon. So I think he's going to have to get back to that race 2 back. I just wonder if at a short price, he's one that could be in a little tough here. Where I landed, and bear with me because this horse is not the most likely winner of this race. He's 20 to 1 on the morning line, the number 1 horse, Green Grotto. Always been a fan of this horse. And he's very dangerous when he gets into a spot where he might be at the controlling speed. And I think that could be the case in this race because his only other pace rival in here is Favorite Tail, the number 9 horse. And Favorite Tail's been in decent form since returning from a long layoff last year, but he hasn't quite gotten back to his best races, doesn't seem to quite have that spark that he once had. So I wonder if Green Grotto from the rail just gets sent to the front here. 6 furlongs is the right distance for him. Last time out in the Toboggan, when he finished behind Great Stuff and Life in Shambles, he was just on an all-out send in that race, dueling with Takafel, who's just a much better horse than he is. And he really didn't quit until the very late stages of that race. He's just been in tough pace situations in race after race throughout the fall and the winter. This time, he's getting a really positive weight shift with Great Stuff. He's getting a 9-pound swing in his direction. Even with the other favorite in this race, Do Share, who beat him in the Graves M2 back, he's getting an 8-pound weight shift positively from Do Share. Green Grotto is the only horse in this race that has run time formula speed figures of 130 or above, and he's done that twice in his past 4 starts. I just feel like he's a horse that's capable of running a really big race once in a while, and this could be the situation where he's able to do it today. So it's going to be a Green Grotto at a price for me. One to use in exactas and triples, but I think he's got a chance to win here in the Tom Fool race night at Aqueduct on Saturday.
Time for our best bet segment here on Out of the Gate. Matt, lots of great racing at Santa Anita on Saturday. You're going with the Grade 1 Triple Bend.
Yeah, 7/8 of a mile. We're going to find out if Captain Scotty can handle the hiking class. He's done nothing wrong in 2 lifetime starts. We're going to go back to his Southern California debut right now for Peter Miller. He's already on the front end. He's just going to go and absolutely blitz this field. Earns a 99 buyer. If you believe the figs, he fits in this field. Now, the question is, again, 7/8 of a mile. This will be the first time he goes out like that. And he's going to be facing some legitimate company. I think in particular, Edwards going left. I think he's the horse to beat in here. But Captain Scotty, through 2 lifetime starts, I think the sky is the limit. I don't know what the ceiling is for this horse just yet. You never know until they actually do it against better horses, but I think he might be a fair number, and talent-wise, he might be just as talented, if not more so, than the rest of the field.
Mike Beard, NYRA analyst. Lots of great racing at Aqueduct this Saturday. You're looking at the Stymie on the Gotham undercard.
Yeah, kick off that all-stakes pick 4 in race number 7, the Stymie. I don't know how much of a real best bet this is. This is just a horse in number 5 Watershed that I feel like I have to bet. Illman, you and I have been doing graded stakes previews for the last couple of years. Every time we get to a race with Watershed in it, I keep telling you I will bet him when they turn him back in distance. Well, here he is in the Stymie, turning back in distance, 1 turn mile. I've been waiting for this horse to go a little bit shorter, and it's been an awful long time. We're going to show you a video of a graded stakes win that he put up last year at Keeneland in the Benelli. This is a 9-furlong race. He does come running through the stretch to close it down, but this horse caught my eye very early on in his career, going shorter distances and making big runs from off the pace. And I really feel like this is what he wants to do. I think he wants to go shorter races where he can catch some pace and come running at the end. I'm just hoping it's not too late. It's been almost 2 years since he last went in a 1-turn race, and now he's going back to a 1-turn race on Saturday.
Lots of great racing on Parks. Well, I like a horse at Parks on Saturday. It's race number 7, number 8, Discreetland. John Service is just having an unbelievable meeting at Parks. He's winning about 36, 37% of the time. He rarely wheels horses back on 1 week notice, but if you go into Formulator, he has done well over the past 5 years. Discreetland last time out at Penn National got beat at a short price. That's the bad news. We're going to watch that race right now. Discreetland's a horse that showed speed. She broke well, and she kind of conceded the lead to the horse down towards the inside, a horse dropping in class and adding Lasix, who might be okay as an allowance horse in Pennsylvania. This was Discreetland's first start in about 3 months. She's now wheeling back in a week. Most importantly, she returns to Parks, and she is the lone speed. Check out the Timeform US pace projector when she gets a chance. She's not going to be chasing this time around in Parks. She's going to be out there on the lead. I'm hoping she can last this distance. She's a square price on the morning line, 7-2 on the number 8 Discreetland in race number 7 at Parks. We thank you so much for watching. We urge you to follow all of DRF TV's offerings on Twitter at DRF Video, and also for the latest news and notes from America's Turf Authority Daily Racing Form, follow on Twitter at DRF Inside Post. That's it for this week. Best of luck when your horses break out of the gate.